today's session. Thank you, Mataji. We will now going to start our today class on learn how to take care of your Tulsi. Our today's speaker is disciple of His Holiness Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and got introduced to Bhakti from very early at age of 12 when his elder sister purchased the Bhagavad Gita as it is and a complete set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhuji has done PhD in aeroscience engineering and live in Houston. Prabhuji manages Tamal Krishna Goswami Memorial Foundation, which continues the sacred legacy of Goswami Maharaj by printing and distributing his books. Prabhuji takes care of Tulsi Devi at ISKCON of Houston and is always eager to distribute and glorify Tulsi. On behalf of ISKCON Bhagavad Mahavidyalaya North America, I'd like to welcome our today renowned speaker, His Grace Rasikendra Prabhu. Prabhuji, whenever you are ready, you can start the class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's my pleasure to be given the opportunity to speak today about Tulsi Devi and about her care. So I have a presentation which I would like to share as we go through the presentation. Okay. I'm going to share the screen, Ishwara Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Okay. Where's my share screen at the bottom? AI companion. Oh, here it is. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so just some, I just want to have some kind of understanding about the audience. Are some of you very new to the care of Tulsi? Some of you are already quite experienced. So I want to know what is the state of the audience so I can do some justice. Anybody
Prabhuji.
is like very new, anybody who doesn't know anything about care of Tulsi?
Yeah, Prabhuji, myself, right? I bought at least eight, by mercy of Krishna. I had eight Tulsi Maharanis with me because of now winter and I not being know how to take care of it. Now it reduced to four. So I'm so anxious, I did so much of research, which soil to put, what to put, how much water to put, how to measure the water, of Tulsi Maharani, and what is the temperature we need to maintain, all those. But I was so worried, huh? So I definitely wanted to join this class and get more enlightened on how to.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody who's like very new? I guess looks like most of y'all are some kind of familiarity. Okay. So Tulsi Devi, she came, Vrinda Devi, all of you probably already know. Vrinda Devi from spiritual world came to this world as Tulsi Devi to be used in the worship of Shaligram, Krishna, all Vishnu Tattvas. And the use of Tulsi in Krishna's worship is not an option. It's actually uh, mandatory to be pleasing to Krishna. Tulsi is very, very essential in Krishna's service. In the early days when Srila Prabhupada came, there was not Tulsi in America. So by the great effort of Mother Govinda Dasi, Tulsi was cultivated and then distributed to different temples. So now in every ISKCON temple, not only in ISKCON temple, every temple in Hindu temple in America, in Europe, pretty much they have Tulsis. All right. So here's a nice picture of Srila Prabhupada chanting beside Tulsi Devi. So one thing I want to reiterate that Tulsi shouldn't be seen as a plant. Okay, so normally if it's a plant, we have plants in our garden, maybe some potted plants in our home. So we tend to think it's a plant, and um, we'll do I do some attempt to take care of the plant. So Tulsi Devi should be considered as a person who has come to bless you, who has come to purify you, and to come and help you worship Krishna to the best degree possible. So Lord Chaitanya said the three aspects of devotional service are very important. Nama Ruchi, that chanting the holy name of Krishna. Jivedaya, Nama Ruchi means developing taste for Krishna's name. Jivedaya, to show mercy to the living entities, and then he said Vaishnav Seva. So the first one, Namaruchi, is quite difficult to develop, at least for me. After all these years, I don't have much of a taste for chanting Krishna's name. Jivedaya, especially as householders, we get caught up in, we really get caught up in household matters, and we often fail to stop and think how to extend Krishna's mercy to people who are suffering in this world. So definitely that's true with the householders. Prabhupada said as householders, we can become very miserly. We only think about our own welfare, our family's welfare, how to provide for the family. And we often relegate giving Krishna consciousness to others as a secondary thing. Okay, but according to Lord Chaitanya, that Namaruchi, Jivedaya, these are very important aspects of our development in Krishna consciousness. And finally, Vaishnav Seva. Now, Vaishnav Seva is something we can do. It is not very difficult, if you ask me, but it needs some humility. You can invite the Vaishnavas in your home, or when you go to the temple, you serve the Vaishnavas, So, or you serve your Guru Maharaj. But on a daily basis, how do we do Vaishnav Seva? If you have Tulsi in your house, then daily you can do Vaishnav Seva, right? Tulsi is the highest devotee of Krishna. So by serving Tulsi, you naturally, serving Tulsi with the proper attitude, you are definitely going to be blessed by Krishna's mercy. Okay. So now, like I said, that Tulsi should be considered as a person living with you. How do I take care of a Vaishnava in my house, the topmost Vaishnava? If they come to my house, how am I going to if they're staying with me, how I'm going to take them? So this should be our attitude. It's not just some plant, some botany, uh, you know. So Tulsi, of course, in a place like America, there are challenges taking care of Tulsi. Of course, summer we really don't have much of a problem taking care of Tulsi, but come winter, there's significant issues devotees face taking care of Tulsi. All right. So, so Tulsi is very dear to Lord Vishnu. Prabhupada, this is Prabhupada's letter to Mother Govinda Dasi. All Vishnu Tattva deities require profusely tulsi leaves. Lord Krishna likes to wear garland of tulsis, and the best type of worship is said to be sandalwood pulp, tulsi and sandalwood pulp placed on the Lord's lotus feet. And tulsi, of course, cannot be used for any other purpose, any other worship of any other devatas, only exclusively for Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and the Vishnu Tattvas, right? We cannot, even on Radharani's feet, we cannot place tulsi. Radharani's hands, by the way, you can put on a palms, you can put tulsi. So Prabhupada has given 3 mantras. All of us know this. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Kesavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavate Namo Namaha. So paying obeisances. Tulsi Devi was very dear to Lord Keshava, and you award bhakti to Lord Vishnu, and you also known as Satyavati. Okay, so one who is the embodiment of truth. So, and then when you are taking, sowing tulsis for the worship of Krishna and the manjaris, we can recite this mantra. Tulsi amrita janmasi sadatvam keshava priya keshavarti chinomi tvam barada bhava shobhine. Okay. Tulsi, I'm plucking your leaves for the worship of Lord Keshava, for the pleasure of Keshava. So, and then the final one is we circumambulate Tulsi. And we say that by circumambulation of Tulsi, even the sin of killing a Brahmana can be vanquished. The reaction, okay? So, like I said, I wanted to speak about Tulsi Devi, Vrinda Devi a little bit before we get into her care. Vrinda Devi is the expansion of actually Radharani. Srimati Radharani actually gifted Vrindavan to Vrinda Devi to be under her care, to really arrange of all the pastimes of Krishna and Srimati Radharani and the gopis. So she resides in Vrindakund. I don't know how many of y'all have been to Vrindakund. It's a very beautiful, sublime place, not very far from Nandagram. And there's Vrindakund. ISKCON has actually, over the years, has really upgraded that place. So now it's a great place of pilgrimage. Before that, not many people knew about. And from there, she orchestrates all of Krishna's pastimes with all her parrot disciples. She's got thousands of parrots. They play the role of messengers. And if there's any pastime of Radha and Krishna about to happen, she will send all these parrots, which will take the message and then fly all over Braj Bhumi and pass the messages, who's supposed to do what, how the kunja has to be decorated, what time Krishna will be coming, what instruments have to be played, what ragas have to be played during this pastimes. So she orchestrates this entire all the things which is necessary for Radha and Krishna's Leela. So she therefore is extremely dear to Krishna, because she is the Leela Shakti of Krishna. Right? And So of course we have songs in ISKCON glorifying. Y'all can stop me any questions if y'all have. All of y'all know this song. We sing this. This is another one called Vrinda Devi Ashtakam by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's a beautiful glorification of Vrinda Devi. And of course, we have another Tulsi Arati, Chandrasekhar Kavi. So, so there's some prayers here. Because this is the Vrinda Devi in Kamyavan, beautiful deity, near close to the Rajasthani border, UP border. This is the original Vrinda Devi, which was there at Vrinda Kund, but then some dacoits stole. I think they broke her arm. So for that purpose, new deity had to be installed. So Mother Devi Shakti, Dinabandhu Prabhu and all worked very hard to renovate. This is the original Vrinda Kund. And this is Baba Madhav, who was actually a great devotee of Vrinda Devi. He was the one who handed over the care of that place to ISKCON. And then we renovated, ISKCON renovated this place. It's a beautiful place. How many of you all have been to Vrindakund? How many of you all have been to Vrindakund? Nobody has been? I see one hands up. So it's a very sublime place. Govinda Kund, Gupta Kund is beside there too. So quite a few. So let's go some nice pictures of Vrinda Devi. Okay. Some names of Vrinda Devi here. Vrinda Devi, one who has thousands of Sakhis working under her. Vrindavani meaning one who is manifested in Vrindavan. She never leaves Vrindavan. Vishva Pujita, one who is worshipable by the whole universe. Pushpashara, she is the essence of all flowers. Nandini, she gives happiness to everyone. Krishna Jivani, the life and soul of Lord Krishna. So she's always on Krishna's lotus feet. Vispapavani, one who delivers or purifies the three worlds. Tulasi, one who is peerless, one who has no comparison. And her another name is also Narayani. She's also the consort because she's also the energy of the Lord. She's also can be considered a consort. So there are a few types of Tulsi. Actually, there are many types of Tulsi, but primarily we use Ram Tulsi. The botanical name is Ochimum sanctum, Ochimum teniflorum. Of course, we have Sham Tulsi. Botanically, they are known with the same names, but the color is different. All of you must have seen these two varieties of Tulsis. And there's also something called the one Tulsi, Ochimum gratissimum. The leaves look a little different, but the manjari is almost identical to our Ram and Sham Tulsi. All right, the other types of Kapur Tulsi is there, the slight variation. Sometimes they cross-pollinate, and if you have Sham Tulsi and Ram Tulsi over time, you can see that the Sham Tulsi loses its color and becomes green over time. That happens, okay? Depending also on the climate where you are. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Priyachati Aham Tad Aham Bhakti Upartam Asnami Prayatatmanam. So if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. The acharyas have commented the leaf. Why did Krishna say leaf first? Interesting, isn't it? I mean, when you leave, when somebody comes to your home, you don't normally give them a leaf. You may give them a flower or fruit or what. So this leaf is actually Tulsi. So whatever offering we have so many shortcomings in our devotion. If you place Tulsi in your offering and give it to Krishna, Krishna becomes obliged to accept it. So therefore, it's not by accident that Krishna mentions Patram first in the Bhagavad Gita when he talks about this verse. So another famous verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, when the four Kumaras went to see Lord Narayan, they were stopped by Jai and Vijay, and for that offense, Jai and Vijay had to fall to this world. So they enter Vaikuntha and they smell the aroma, the beauty, the very intoxicating scent of Tulsi leaves from the toes of the feet of the Lord, beautiful feet. And when it entered their nostrils, they bring Brahmavadis. They were attached to the Brahman understanding. They were not Mayavadis, they were Brahmavadis, even though they were aware of the personal aspect and the Paramatma aspect. They were somehow inclined to the impersonal aspect of the Lord. But when the scent of Tulsi entered their nostrils, they gave up their impersonalism and they became personalists. So that's the power of Tulsi. So therefore, we always have to use Tulsi in the worship of the Lord. It's very important. The scent of Tulsi can make one into a devotee. So Advaita Acharya, when he prayed for the descent of Mahaprabhu, he saw this verse that Tulasi Dalamatrena Jalasya Chulukena va Vikrinite Swam Atmanam Bhaktebhyo Bhaktavatsala. Sri Krishna was very affectionate toward his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers him merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. And when Advaita Acharya saw this, meditated on this verse, what he did was take tulsi leaves and offered with Ganges water to his shaligram. And he cried with a great roar for Krishna to come. And Krishna became obliged to come by the prayers of Advaita Acharya, by the tulsi leaves offered to the shaligram. Of his shaligram form, he became very obliged, so he descended as Lord Chaitanya. Okay? So some guidelines for caring for Tulsi. Like I said, she has to be treated like the most worshipable person living with you. And she cannot be like treated as a plant. You know, we have a tendency to neglect plants. You know, if you have a garden, come winter, you know, you don't really go through great trouble to protect your plants, especially when especially in the ground. Sometimes Tulsi starts, devotees actually plant Tulsi on the ground. Now, come winter, how are you going to save her if she's planted on the ground? She may grow very beautifully into a big Tulsi bush, but then come winter, if you leave her on the ground, what happens? She's going to wilt and leaf due to the intense cold. So my recommendation to devotees is actually put Tulsi always in a pot. Unless you're in a place where the temperature very temperate, you don't get to below 45 degrees, then it's safe to plant Tulsi on the ground. But if it is you're in a place where temperatures drop to freezing, below 45, even sometime below 45 is all right, above 40 if it's not windy, but even at 45 with strong breeze, you know, with wind chill, she can leave her body. So very important. So always have few tulsis, not only one tulsi, because whenever you bring one tulsi, the rest of the tulsis can be outside, and then you can rotate the tulsis. Because if you keep Tulsi indoors, it becomes a significant challenge to take care of Tulsi indoors. You need to have the proper lighting. You need to have the proper ventilation. And then indoors, there's a tendency for pests to proliferate. So, never consider, like I said, as a plant, one must be very clean when tending to Tulsi. Externally must be very clean. One has to take a shower. One has to pay obeisances to Tulsi before attending to her. And one must have a devotional mood when serving Tulsi. So if you see that Tulsi's health is declining, it's not like wait till the last minute when she's about to leave her body, you call frantically somebody. When you see immediately some things are not right, you should act right away. Just like if you have a daughter in your house, if you see some health issues, you're immediately going to take her to the doctor. So you should treat Tulsi just like that, like your own daughter. Hey, something is not right. Her leaves are turning pale. She's shedding leaves. The tip of the leaves are turning brown. So these are all principles, okay? You have to be very mindful. And if we neglect Tulsi, it's just like neglecting a Vaishnava, a great Vaishnava living with you. So another boon is if you have Tulsi, you at least are taking care one of the aspects, Vaishnav Seva. You may not have Namaruchi, you may not have Jibe Daya, but just by Vaishnav Seva, one can get highest. Suddha Bhakata Charana Renu, Bhajanaya Anukula, Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi, Premalati Karamuga. So worshipping Tulsi in the proper attitude, taking of Tulsi, you can actually get pure devotional service. It's not an exaggeration. And we should never keep Tulsi in the spirit of karma kandya, or I'm going to get good fortune if I keep Tulsi. She's going to bring me wealth. And also taking Tulsi for health purposes is also forbidden. You cannot be making Tulsi into a tea and drink and all this. Commercially, you may buying, some devotees still, buy Tulsi tea. That is really not recommended. Okay, summer, Tulsi can be watered very liberally. If you're getting a lot of sun during the day, especially if you're living in a house, your backyard or your front where Tulsi is, but in an apartment, you may not be getting a lot of sun depending how your apartment is arranged. But if you're getting a lot of sunlight, Tulsi can be out in the sun, even very hot, okay? You'll find that as the temperature goes up, the sun intensity goes up, Tulsi leaves, they will become smaller. I don't know if you all have noticed it. Because when there's too much sun, naturally, how botanically the size of the leaves will adjust to the amount of sunlight. So you can water liberally Tulsi, but if you want to water only once, it's better to water before the sun sets, because if you water during the day in the early morning, and when the sun comes up, especially, it can be very intense, like in Texas, maybe in Florida, also very intense sun. The evaporates by the time the end of the day. So you may have to water again. Whereas if you water at night, Tulsi gets to absorb the water into her root overnight. And in the morning, until the sun gets a little, she's still. So even though during the day the water may have evaporated, but over the night she has got sufficient water to nourish her. So as much as possible, one should keep Tulsi outdoors. So even in winter, we have to constantly monitor the temperature. So if temperature drops below 45 degrees, somebody has a question?
그래요. 키 그랬으리.
Some okay. All right, so 45 degrees is kind of like the threshold. But in certain instance, if it's not windy, 45, even I have at Tulsi outside, even at 40 degrees, she did all right if it's not windy. Okay, especially even if it rains, actually she does all right. Even if it rains, it drops to 40, you leave her outside, it's okay. But if she's kind of dry and you haven't watered her properly and then the temperature drops, if you don't have time to water her thoroughly, it's better to bring her indoors before the temperature drops below 45. So you have to keep two things in mind, the temperature and the wind speed. You got to check your weather app. But if sometime when it's very windy, even 50 degrees, she can get a shock. Okay, depends what kind of wind chill is there. Now, once you bring her indoors, now the whole dynamics change. Okay, you have to have sufficient lighting inside your house. When I say lighting, the best type of lighting is the fluorescent fixture, but you don't use fluorescent lights, you use special lights, blue and red light. Okay, so red light promotes flowering, but it does not promote growth. So if you just have the red wavelength light, she will just may give manjaris, but she will become very thin and scraggly. She won't grow like a bush. So best if you get like a 4 fixture light, a 4 fluorescent fixture light. It's T5 perhaps, I can't remember, it's T5. Then you alter the two red, you put red, you put blue, you put red, and you put blue. So both wavelengths are there. So indoors, and you can bring these lights, they don't give out a lot of heat, but they are bright. So you can, for blue, you can even use LED lights. Red, you can use a red fluorescent. So with these two mixture of wavelengths, she will do quite well inside. Now, one challenge will is don't keep Tulsi too close to each other indoors. Naturally, because there's no ventilation, um, any pest which starts affecting one will immediately spread to all the Tulsis. So in my case, I have a living room here. When the temperature drops, I bring all my Tulsis inside. And if it's just a day or two, it's okay. But if it's like some sustained period of time, I move all my Tulsis into my garage, where I have a very good lighting system. I keep the lights 24 hours. And then I keep some distance apart. And one big mistake people do when they bring indoors, they water her just like they're watering her outside. What happens is when you water, like how you water outside, the water doesn't evaporate, or Tulsi, because the sun is not very hot, she doesn't need also that much water. And the soil, dirt remains wet for a prolonged period of time. And in the process, the roots start rotting. And when the roots start rotting, typically you will see her leaves turning brown. So people think, hey, this is turning brown, the leaves are drying up, so she must need more water. And then they exacerbate the problem with watering her more. So Tulsi, when she's indoors, she has to be very sparingly watered, where you can just barely feel the moistness in the dirt. Okay, it should be just barely damp. Okay, so very important. Another big problem the people make is not trimming the manjaris on time. When the manjaris turn brown, they start sapping the energy of Tulsi. She kind of get weakened. And also not trimming manjaris properly. I'll show you what I mean here. You all see this, how a manjari has been trimmed. and the stalk is left like this. Can you all see the picture? You all understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So this stalk should never stick out like that. With your scissors, people say, oh, Tulsi cannot be, but it's okay to proper say you can use scissors. Sometime when we're trying to use our hand, we do more damage to Tulsi. So what you do, you take your scissors and you go right to the bottom. You see right of the bottom red ellipse there, right at the bottom. That's where you trim the manjaris. You don't trim the manjari. Of course, typically you have to trim the manjari 2 leaves down. Okay, there's first 2 sets of leaves. Then you can go another 2 set of leaves down. Then you go to the bottom of that stem and you trim right there. If you leave a stalk sticking out like this, it will take time to dry. And in the process of drying, a lot of healing has to go into that area. So if you cut the stalk right at the bottom, you don't have this drying issue and the energy doesn't get sapped. Okay, so it's very important that when we trim manjaris, we go to right to the bottom where you don't even see. It is quite time consuming. So Tulsi care needs very great attention and dedication. You can't just just, oh, this is just a chore I have to do. If you have that mentality, Tulsi is not going to flourish with you. You have to treat her like a person. You got to really follow the proper procedures when you take care of Tulsi. You have to trim the manjaris on time. Another issue, if you don't trim manjaris on time, what happens? The seeds start getting blown away by the wind, and then you'll have Tulsis growing everywhere. You think that's a good problem, but then when your lawn mowing guy comes, he will be mowing Tulsi down, which is very offensive. And then when we walk in the garden, we may be stepping on Tulsi. So trimming manjaris on time is very important. Trimming manjaris in the proper way is very important. We have to leave like 4 leaves down so you can make a garland. If you just trim the manjari right at the root, it's going to be really difficult to tie a garland with that. So here in Houston, the ladies who are making the Tulsi garland, they already told me to tell us to go at least 2 sets of leaves down, not only one. Okay. So better to use like a pointed. You see how here there's a stalk left here? That shouldn't be done. So you go right to the bottom where the scissors is showing, and that's where you snap, and now you don't see the stalk. You see in the third picture, you don't see the stalk. In the first picture, you see the stalk. Are you all able to see it?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, we can see.
So if you do that, Tulsi will grow very well. She will remain very healthy. So some of the challenges of infestation and everything can be addressed just by following this. Because when Tulsi becomes weak, because people leave all these stalks out, she becomes weak, and then that's when insects start attacking her. Just like when your body immune system is weak, that's when you get diseases. Like I said, you have to treat her like a person, not like some plant which is used in Krishna's worship. Okay, so it's very important how these details are very important. If you follow this very religiously, very dedicatedly, you'll find that Tulsi will flourish under your care. Okay, any questions so far?
There is one question, Prabhuji, but I think we can take it in the end. It's
Okay, all
regarding
right.
Shyam Tulsi and Ram Tulsi.
So now another thing which comes is after some time when the Tulsi leaves fall, over age, we're not sowing all the Tulsis. Now you'll start having dry twigs like this. You see the dry twigs here with no leaves in them? You all
Yes,
see that,
Prabhu.
right?
Yes, we see them.
Now you have to actually trim those dry twigs. Like I said, even when something is dried up like that, over time, it still saps Tulsi's energy. So you find that when you trim a dry twigs as they're drying, make sure there are no leaves at the end of those twigs. When you can, when you start trimming those dry twigs with no leaves in them. When I say twigs, means where a twig could be, and from there it could be alive, then it could be an offshoot to another twig which is dry, but the main twig is alive. You just go up to the point where the dry twig is there, where there's no leaves on the dry, you can trim them. This is showing connected to the main trunk, but there will be sub branches with dry twigs. The sub branches will be alive, but there on the sub branches there may be dry twigs. So you have to really go over the whole plant and trim all the dry twigs. You'll see an immediate difference. In a matter of 4 or 5 days, you will see the health of Tulsi much better. She will become more bushier. She'll become more luscious and more vibrant. Okay? Understood this point? You see how there's some dry twigs on these pictures here? You have to go to where the root, where you don't see any leaves, you cut that. That means this is a dead branch. Cut those branches, cut those twigs off. All right? Now, after some time, you'll find that the dirt in the pot becomes hardened. Okay? And when you water, a lot of this water may not even reach the roots. They may just barely wet the surface and maybe go an inch down, because the soil has become hardened over time and the root has sometimes practically engulfed the whole pot. So there's not really much nutrition for Tulsi. There's not dirt, because if you leave Tulsi over a prolonged period of time in the same pot, when you pull her out of the pot, you'll find that the entire root system is all bundled up into the shape of the pot. There's hardly any dirt. So occasionally you have to disturb the dirt on the top and aerate this dirt. So when you water, the water enters. But as Tulsi is growing bigger and bigger, you have to keep changing the pot to a bigger pot. Right? You can't keep Tulsi in the same pot. And after some time, even though you may put some nutrition, it may help a little bit, but Tulsi has to have dirt. Just like any plant, it has to have dirt. Okay? Understood what I mean by aerating the soil? You can take your hands, yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. How do you aerate her? What do you do?
You just use your hands.
Okay.
But if you're not repotting her, you just take your hands and you kind of, disturb the dirt on top. You can use a tool if you want. You can see all these capillary roots, Tulsi, they can take up the whole thing. It's okay if you disturb the roots, as long as you don't mess with the main tap root. All these smaller roots, it's fine. So you just go around and shake up with your hands, with your fingers, as deep as you can go. So it's good to do this like once in 2 months or something, or once in 6 weeks, like that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So now you see how this manjaris are dry. Like this is what I was saying. This dry manjari should never be allowed to dry like that. We may have a problem where there are too many manjaris. We can't use in Krishna's service. It's okay. You trim the manjaris when they are green. You can put abundant manjaris in the offering. You can offer manjaris to your family deities. Even if you don't eat them, you don't have enough capacity to consume tulsi, which is offered to Krishna. You can let them dry. Eventually, over time, you can put it in the compost or something like that. It's perfectly all right. Okay. So, but the dry manjaris have to be trimmed on time for Tulsi to remain healthy. If not, she'll kind of get weakened and she'll become stunted. You'll find her growth will be stunted. Right? This is what I mean by dry manjaris. This is what happens when you don't trim manjaris on time too. What happens? The manjaris fall onto the pot, or they can also fall onto the ground. We have had some instances in Houston where we had more than 1,000 tulsis fall on the ground, and we have to extricate every tulsi and repot them. So, and then now we have 1,000 tulsis in small pots. Then now the challenge is how we're going to distribute tulsis to the congregation. We run out of space. So it's always very good practice to trim manjaris on time. Then you won't have this issue of little saplings growing all over place. You know, you can't squish them back into the dirt. It's offensive. It's not respectful. And so you'll see what I mean. This is a direct result of not trimming manjaris on time. Because Tulsi has got in a single manjari, there could be 1,000 seeds in there easily. Okay. So this is what happened in Houston when our boys did not trim in our time. Look at the number of Tulsis. This is even, we had gravel put in there. We even put a mesh underneath. Still, it's not much dirt. She grows like this because there's sufficient water. We got a sprinkler system. It's out in the open sun. She loves it. So all the much. So that's what I'm saying. It's important to trim manjaris on time. Okay, so we've learned over the years to trim manjaris on time. And then, you know, even by our pujari room, the pujaris, they come and dump the water, you know, offer to the deities. There's too much water sometime, you know, because so many deities. So they just dump the water and there's Tulsi manjaris in there and they start growing all over the place. Right? Happy bees. So, you know, of course, the bees are always around Tulsi. When Tulsi is healthy, you'll see that bees are always buzzing around her. So common diseases. This is one of the most common diseases. I'm sure everybody has experienced this, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this is like a white deposit which happens, you know, like looks almost like a cotton swab in there. These are actually mealy bugs. What they do, they latch onto the branches and they suck the juices out of the plant. And over time, Tulsi becomes very weak. So, and this is a very, very contagious. Once one plant gets it, if you don't address it in time, it's only a matter of time, all the other plants are going to get it, especially when they're held in proximity. And you find that this happens when Tulsi is also kind of in a weakened state. If she's healthy, she can fight off all these things. But when she becomes weakened, then you lay the path for Tulsi to become infested. So what we do, we always keep an eye. We never use harsh chemicals or even naturally made things. What we do, we take Tulsi, we take our garden hose, we put the hose head on flat mode. You know, you have a garden hose with many settings, right? Your garden fixture for your hose. It could have a sprinkler, it could have shower mode, it's flat mode, it's got mist mode. So you put it on flat and you give her a real good bath. You shoot these bugs out of the plant by sheer force of the water. Okay. And if you don't have a garden, hose, if this is something in your home, an apartment, you can put it on a sink. Of course, make sure the sink is clean. and then take your spray hose and your sink, and you can spray her everywhere until you don't see any of this. And then let her dry properly. All right. Like you see, this is what I'm doing here. I'm taking my garden hose head in flat mode. That's flat setting. If you go to Home Depot when you buy your thing, you will see, and you just blast this bugs out of where she is. Okay.
Prabhuji, so
Yes.
it doesn't harm her. I mean, I see how you're holding her and just
No,
kind of,
no, it doesn't harm her.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank
So you spray her really hard. Make sure you gotta have a very keen eyes when you're taking care of Tulsi. All right. You really have to see if there's any uh infestation beginning to take place. Sometimes it becomes too late to save her. That's why I tell the people I give Tulsi to, don't give me until when Tulsi's about to leave her body and expect me to create miracles. When you see that she's starting not to do well, if you can't handle it, you can bring her to the temple. I can see what's the problem. I can tell you what to do. Okay. So there are also aphids.
But one
Yeah.
question with the mealybugs is that in the summertime, if they are there, it's good. We can use enough water and the plant is in a very good health, the tulsi. But when in winters, mostly where it's more cold places and tulsi is inside, and there we get this mealybugs. Is it still okay to wash with cold water?
Yeah, you can wash with cold water, but then leave her under a fan inside the house until the water dries up. Okay. You can also, when you bring Tulsi inside, you also need to have ventilation, not only lighting. She needs to feel as natural an environment as possible. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the air is still inside the house. So it becomes, even caterpillars thrive in environments like that. So another big issue is caterpillars, and you have to watch out for caterpillar droppings. Outside is a little difficult, but when you bring her indoors, you can easily see these caterpillars, because you can see caterpillar droppings and you see Tulsi is becoming thin. One instance in our Houston greenhouse, our whole Tulsi population got infested with caterpillars. We had to extricate almost 300 caterpillars from plant to plant. And of course, we don't kill the caterpillars, so we had to kind of pull out all these caterpillars. It was a huge task because the caterpillars are green and you hardly can see them. So you really have to spend practically the entire day. Few of us go Tulsi by Tulsi and remove almost 300 caterpillars. This was during the winter time when Tulsi was inside.
Mhm.
All right. So, and then you also have this aphids, pretty nasty stuff. They can also come in, not as common as the mealybugs though. Then you also get this black, red, sometimes mites there. What I do is, in such cases like this, could be harder to spray them off because they may be. What I do is, I don't know if y'all have fresh neem. I have fresh neem, so I also bring her indoors during the winter. I pound the fresh neem leaves and filter and make sure there's no particulate, and then put it in a spray bottle and spray all over. Then these bugs will leave. Or if you do it about 3-4 times, spray her regularly, they will leave. All right. Now, some people use soap, turmeric. It hasn't worked for me. Soap, it can be a little toxic for Tulsi. So the best attention is always be water is the best. Try, you have to catch it early. And if you're leaving on vacation, or 2 or 3 days, I'll just leave Tulsi indoors. It's just not a good idea. You need to hand over your Tulsis to somebody who can take care. So if you're going to take care of Tulsis, you also have to be prepared to hand over your Tulsis to people who take care of them while you're away. Okay. And if you have pets at home, it's a real bad idea to have your pets hang around Tulsi. They come and lick the leaves, and and it's not respectful. So always, if you have pets at home, make sure the pets don't have access to the place where Tulsi is. All right. And like I said, cleanliness is about 75% of the issue is solved if you are clean when you're dealing with Tulsi, and when you are devoted when you're dealing with Tulsi. All right. So these are some caterpillars,
Prabhuji,
which get, yeah.
does the aphids are also in white in color or
No,
just
no, the
brown?
aphids could be of various colors though, but these are the aphids which could come, and aphids. But you have to have a keen eye for them. Huh? They're not very visible. They can be really tiny. So still you can use water, but make sure in the process when you water, when you spray her with this, make sure the soil doesn't get too wet. You can put your fan on and put her under the light, especially indoors. But if it's outside, you can liberally spray her. Okay. All right.
So, Prabhuji, how diluted this mixture should be?
Um, maybe you could have 1 to 10 part, or maybe 1 to 20, because neem is it's very potent, and the natural antiseptic there are very repelling for this neems. I don't know if if you get a cut in your body, if you pound neem leaves and put it, you'll heal practically in a day. Your wound will heal. Okay. So
Prabhuji, is it okay to use the mixture of water and neem oil?
neem oil is okay, but the neem oil has to be very thoroughly mixed. So because oil and water don't mix well.
Yeah.
But when you put soap with neem oil, it takes away, it eats up the neem, the oil. Yeah, somebody has a question?
Hare
UK?
Krishna. Hare Krishna, I'm sorry, maybe dumb question. When you take caterpillars from the plant, where should we take it if we
You
don't
just
kill them?
put it in some plant outside in public place. They're going to become
Okay.
butterflies anyway, right? Or moths. They're going to become a butterfly or a moth. So
Okay.
and sometimes you have ants problem, so you have to be mindful also. They kind of taken shelter of Tulsi is not a good idea to put insecticide and kill them. So if you have ants, you just keep spraying, watering them until the ants leave. Okay. You won't have much of a ants problem in winter, but summer you get a lot of ants issues, right? So lighting for Tulsi, this is what I meant. T5. I have this 4 lamps inside. I have 6 or 4. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside my garage, I hang them. And these are adjustable height. You can pull the cord and you can lower them. You can raise them. So you see how I've got 4 lamps and 2 of them are kind of whitish and 2 of them are reddish. So this is how you have both wavelengths, and then you can lower them over Tulsi. She gets plenty of light, at the same time a little heat. So if you cannot have this kind of fixture, you can get a Home Depot. You can get what's called an agro light. They don't work as best, but if you're keeping her for a few days, it's okay. So these are
Prabhuji, is LED lights also okay? The diodes which are there, they
the
have.
LED will be more on the blue wavelength. Okay, you can use LED, but for the red, you need to get the proper red tubes.
Okay. I mean, there are LEDs like I'm using one from the Vivo Sun, which has both the red and the blue spectrum.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, if you get LEDs with the red, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
How about the spider, the fluorescent spider light?
Spider light meaning?
There's a spider fluorescent lights, which is it's proper.
Fluorescent alone is not sufficient. You need the proper wavelength. White light is composed of so many wavelengths, right? So you need to get a blue and red wavelength. So when you say spider light, I don't know if it's just plain diffused white light. It's not really going to help a whole lot. Okay. And you have to know that the sun is very, very powerful. No matter how much light you have inside your house, it's not going to compare to what the sun is. So you'll find definitely a change in Tulsi's growth behavior, how she's growing. And you'll find that her leaves will become a little bigger when you bring her indoors because she's trying to capture more light, right? And then if you
How
don't
long
have
the
enough
light should
light,
be used? Sorry, Prabhuji. How long the light should be used for?
I use the light 24 hours. I leave 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay. It's okay to leave the light 24 hours on.
And what temperature it has to be? Like
If you bring her indoors, it's your room temperature, whatever, in your house. Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, is it okay to add plant food, liquid plant foods that come?
Yeah, you have to be mindful what is in that plant food. I'll cover that in a bit. But winter, you don't want to put too much plant food. Okay. Because Tulsi kind of becomes a little dormant during winter. So you don't want to like put too much plant food and she won't be really using up all that plant food. When you summer outside, you can use plant food for her to grow. So these are some of the plant food. Of course, this is our Houston Tulsi garden here. Just one of the shots here. So these are the three main things we use: Osmocote, and we stagger the use. Osmocote is a very all-rounded plant food. Ironite is when she becomes pale, she's lacking in iron. And you can't use ironite like your lawn ironite. This is specifically for plants, okay? And you want to stagger their use. You put Osmocote, now 4 weeks later, you can put ironite. Ironite you only use typically when she's starting to turn pale, the leaves are turning yellow and they're dropping. And then Epsom salt, you can stagger the use. Epsom salt is kind of like a all-rounded plant food too, okay? So this is one of our big Tulsis in our Houston. All right, and this is our Tulsi care team in Houston. And this is not our greenhouse. Our greenhouse, do we have a picture of our greenhouse here? No. Yeah, we have a really nice, our temple spent $100,000 on our greenhouse. It's kind of an automated greenhouse with ventilation, temperature control, and evaporative cooler. All right, so I think we already exceeded the time. Any questions, any comments? So now you've heard
Hare
the
Krishna.
theory, and now you got to get it to practice. You know, the only way you can help, you gotta roll up your sleeve and take care of Tulsi. And Krishna within your heart will give you the intelligence. When you see Tulsi, you will immediately know whether she's healthy or not, or she's about to have some disease. And Krishna gives you inspiration from your heart because you're serving his topmost devotee so sincerely. Krishna will give you the intelligence how to deal with it.
Prabhuji, in the cold weather when we are using the heaters, especially the hot air coming in, how about the humidity percentage to be maintained?
Okay, now the direct heat on Tulsi is really bad idea. Okay, now if you have a central heat, it's okay, but it's good to have a humidifier running inside. Okay.
Yeah, but air-wise, what the humidity percentage should be there in the air?
I don't follow any like a hard and fast rule. If it's comfortable for you, it should be comfortable for Tulsi. Don't keep it where your skin becomes really dry.
Yeah, no, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right. Yes. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes. So the Epsom salt, is it like a plant food, like a special one we need to get, or?
Yeah. Epsom salt is Epsom salt. You can go to Home Depot, in the garden section or Lowe's. Just get Epsom salt.
Or not from the one from the Shoppers Drug Mart, right? Yeah. That's
You go to the plant department. I don't know others what they may have some mixture in them.
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu,
Yes.
for the good.
Hare
Yeah, go
Krishna
ahead.
Prabhu.
I,
I
Yes.
have a small Tulsi plant, which I have put a small greenhouse, a very small plant, Tulsi Maharani, and a small greenhouse I have put. So I feel that it inside the greenhouse it is still warm in the night time. So when the temperature goes down more, should I bring her inside or will she be okay in the greenhouse itself outside?
It really depends what is your ambient temperature outside. What is the temperature? Let's say the temperature is
We are in San Diego, Prabhu.
So what temperature do you low? You see, when Tulsi is outside, open to the elements, 45 degrees is like the threshold. You bring her inside. But if you have a greenhouse, when you put her inside, the temperature normally there's a difference between the outside temperature and what's in the greenhouse, depending whether you have a light inside the greenhouse, if it's just a plain greenhouse with no lighting. If you put her inside a greenhouse with no lighting, especially that's not a good idea. Maybe in winter you may want to do that, but she's not going to do very well unless you have some lighting system inside the greenhouse.
I have a solar light which glows in the night inside the greenhouse. So will that be enough, or should I just put a
You
permanent light
should put a
inside?
thermometer. You should put a thermometer and see what's the difference between the outside and the inside. So
Okay.
you don't want to get too hot on the inside also.
Okay.
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 If it is like 70, 75, even 80 degrees inside is all right. But if she's like constantly in a hot environment,
Mm-hmm.
it's not good for her. And then you have to water her sufficiently if she's like losing water.
Okay. In the morning, I just open open in the sense there are vents and the opening is there, the front opening of the greenhouse. So I open that in the morning around 10:30 when the sun is there, and evening by 4 o'clock I close her. So I just like do this thing every day. So
Yeah,
as
if the pot is not too big, you can just bring her inside at night when the temperature, let's say if the temperature is still above 45, you can keep her outside even winter. No
Okay.
worries, no issues.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Tulsi does best when she's outdoors.
Mm.
Yeah, she's nature, right? When you bring inside, you bring her into an unnatural environment.
Okay.
So you have to have few tulsis. What I do, I've got so many tulsis in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I bring one tulsi into the house, and whatever was inside, I bring outside. So I rotate the tulsis. I don't keep
Okay.
the same tulsi inside the house more than a day.
Oh, okay.
Because once she's inside the house, even your lighting, you'll find she'll start dropping leaves. So, but in winter is when you may have to bring 20 tulsis inside your house. That's when you really have to put your thinking cap on how best to keep her comfortable, make sure water is not overwatered, make sure there's no pest. I don't see any, dropping leaves.
Okay.
So like that, okay?
Okay.
Prabhuji, we have a few more hands raised, so maybe if you have time,
I'm
you can.
okay. I've got time.
So Sita Mataji, if you want to ask your question, I see you have on the chat also, if you want to check those two also.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam. My question is, you shared about that we should not be using Shama Tulsi. So, Prabhu, that means for offering we use only Ram Tulsi, and
No. I didn't say that. You can use
sorry,
Sham Tulsi. I didn't say that you cannot use Sham Tulsi. Who said that? Maybe you misheard me. Did you all hear me say that?
maybe I didn't.
No. You can use Sham Tulsi, Ram Tulsi. You can even use one Tulsi if you have. Tulsi is Tulsi, okay? And sometimes people have got a preference. When I give them Ram Tulsi, say, Prabhu, can you give me Sham Tulsi? I told her Tulsi is Tulsi. Don't be so selective. When she's coming to you, don't reject her. Okay?
Prabhuji, can
Can
we use one
we have
tool for offering also?
Yes,
One-
you can.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
If you don't have other Tulsi, one Tulsi is fine.
and Prabhuji, if we have extra Tulsi, can we give it to non-devotees? I mean, is it okay?
Give Tulsi to non-devotees.
Ji Prabhu, is it a
Now,
good?
if you're giving Tulsi to somebody, one basic rule is there, you have to ask them to commit to certain rules before you give to them. Say, this is cannot be used for food. This is a very sacred plant. If you can take the leaves, you cannot make tea. So I can send you all, Ishwara Krishna Prabhu, I'll send you this Tulsi Care booklet, which you can forward to the whole group.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Because some basic rules are there, and people, a lot of Hindus, they don't know that Tulsi is only meant for the worship of Lord Vishnu Tattva. They start using it for, Devi Puja and Hanuman Puja, like that. Is really not correct. It's not meant for that. So if you're giving to a non-devotee, somebody may be coming to the temple, wants to, let them become a little acquainted with some basic understanding of some devotional practices, then I would give them a Tulsi. Okay?
Hare Krishna,
So,
Prabhuji.
yes.
Sorry, I have a question. Prabhuji, my Tulsi is indoors and I live in New York. And right now the temperature sometimes, it varies. Sometimes it's just dropping down to 40s and otherwise it could be in 60s also. And I see a lot of my Tulsi leaves are turning dry and brown. So do you think
It could
it's
be the indoors, outside, outdoors.
indoor?
Indoors means you're overwatering them.
That I understood because I had no idea before that it's not supposed to be watered regularly, and I've always had my tulsi indoors. But now I realize that. So what should I do now that it's turning like I see a lot of dry leaves and dried twigs?
Yeah, you really have to stop watering. The dirt has to be, when you touch the dirt,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't leave even any water in your hand. So if there's some water is on your hand when you touch the dirt, when you take your fingers back up, that means it's really too much. They should be barely damp when you're inside. You shouldn't even be able to feel any wetness. But there is wetness, but it shouldn't be like completely dry. What happens when she starts drooping? When she starts drooping, that means she don't have enough water. But when the leaves starts turning brown, there's got too much water.
Yes,
Okay?
Prabhuji, that I understood. So, Prabhuji, nowadays, like sometimes, the sun does come out and it just, the weather will go to 60. Should I bring her out for some
Yes,
time
the earliest opportunity you can bring Tulsi outside, you should do so.
and get her back inside
Even
the
on a
minute?
daily basis, one day is dropping to 40, next day is 60, good 60 for 24 hours, bring her outside. So you have to constantly watch the temperature in your local area.
So, Prabhuji, I can bring her out and then I can bring her back, the minute it starts getting colder and
Yes, that's what I do. I bring my Tulsis. I got so many Tulsis. So this is my routine. Every day bring her. Sometimes I bring her out in the morning, nighttime temperature is dropping, I bring her back inside. Now, if it's a day or two, she's inside, it's okay. But the prolong, and if you don't have a proper lighting system, if it's like 2-3 days, you can see Tulsi starting to become affected. Okay.
that's what's happening, Prabhuji. And
Yeah.
Prabhuji, the way in the previous pictures you showed that we should cut off the dried twigs. Now, there are certain twigs that have dried and they have the brown, one or two brown leaves left. Should I still cut them out?
Yeah, if the leaves have turned brown, that means there's no light. But if you see there's still some greenness in the leaves, keep them.
Okay,
Okay,
so till the
until
time they're green, I leave them, and if it's all brown, then I can cut it off.
yes.
And Prabhuji, what do you do with the dried leaves, tulsi leaves?
Dried leaves you can use in Krishna's worship,
And
especially if you have enough, plenty leaves, use green leaves. Dried leaves, you can just store them in a bag, and over time, you can put it in compost or something like that. If you got plenty of leaves, some devotees, they store their leaves. The leaves shouldn't rot. When you offer boga, it shouldn't be rotten leaves. They could be dry leaves, but shouldn't be rotten leaves. Okay.
so rotten is like if they're infected, you mean those ones are rotten?
Not infected. Rotten means that they have been stored improperly and they start rotting. They don't dry naturally. decomposing.
So Prabhuji, if I haven't stored, but they're just falling off from the twigs only, but they are dry, so I can offer them.
Yeah, that you can, yeah.
And after offering them, you consume them, or what do you do
Of
with
course,
those?
of course, yeah.
The
you
dried
offer-
ones also we consume.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
All right.
I have one more question, because sometimes we have to be careful when we buy the soil and the plant foods, because sometimes they put different I don't know, some animal products and all. We have to be very careful in
Yes,
selection.
yes. So you got to be mindful of that. So what dirt we use is we use Miracle Grow. But it's hard to find a dirt which is really, we really have to go and do a lot of research what they really, because they don't tell you where these things are derived from. Sometimes they say it's organic. Organic could also mean organically grown animal products.
Yes, that's why. Like, there was one shop I was able to get good. I made sure, but now that shop is closed. So
Yeah, you know,
yeah.
with the time, place, and circumstances, we can't really go to the extreme. Some people say, oh, we cannot use plastic pots for Tulsi. We can only use ceramic pots. But I found that when you use ceramic pots, they lose moisture very, very fast because the water escapes through ceramic much easier than plastic pots. And then you got to water them multiple times a day. So we have to do what is practical. Of course, we have to avoid using any kind of animal products to the best of degree, but certain things, you know, the ground also has got insects which are dying, right? The ants are dying, the insects are dying, they get mixed with the dirt. Okay. So all these things are there, you know, but we try to use natural compost, you know, if your temple has some kind of, even if you have some compost, you can use that to fertilize your soil. Cow dung is another good one. We have a farm here, we got cows, so but don't use directly cow dung, let it dry for few, you know, like 5-6 days under the sun, then you can mix with dirt. And then you can also use cow urine, but it has to be diluted significantly, like 1:20.
Prabhuji, I see there are a lot of hands raised. So let me call the names and let them ask the question in that order. So
Yes.
yeah, I think
Okay, can we wrap this up in the next 15 minutes?
yes, Prabhu. And I think the rest of, if you can take all the questions, please IM me your questions and I will reach out to Prabhuji and get the answer back to you. So I think let's take next 15 minutes. By 8:30 we can wrap it up. So Faneshwari, Lakshmi Mataji, if you want to unmute yourself and ask the question now.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. One question is, I missed the first part of the class, and I'm hoping there's a recording we can get. And I think you answered the other question. Taking her in and out daily if necessary, or a couple days during the winter months is okay, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can take her out. Take her out when the sun comes out.
Yeah. Okay.
One other problem you will face is if you have her in a prolonged period of time inside the house, even in proper lighting. So the light indoors nowhere is as close to the light outdoors. So sometimes she gets this shock when you bring out, even though she is kept indoors and she seems to be doing, when you bring her outside, the sun may be very hot, even in winter. Sometimes, well, not hot, but could be very bright. So she may feel like a shock. So what you may want to do is take her out when the sun is not so hot. So take her out when as early as you can in the morning, and then slowly as the sun, because suddenly when you take from indoor to outside in the blazing sun, she could receive a shock. Just like I said, just feel like as a person, what would you do? Indoors, my house is at 70 degrees and outdoors is 105 degrees. When you step out, you're going to feel the blazing sun, right? But if indoors is 75 degrees and in the morning outdoors is 75 or 80 or even 85, it's much more tolerable, or even 90. So you want to bring her out in the morning, and slowly as the sun comes out, she'll do better rather than bringing her out during noontime, when the temperatures are, when the sun is bright, even though winter, but the sun may be very bright. So it takes some experience. Y'all are going to make mistakes. This is all at this point theory for y'all. But based on this information I've shared with y'all, if y'all use this as guidelines, you are going to make some mistakes in the process, but through experience, you will learn. Okay.
Okay.
If some of you have
Thank you.
gardens at home, if y'all are gardeners, it's much easier to take care of Tulsi if you have a tendency for gardening, because that concepts also apply to Tulsi. But somebody who's got no garden, too busy, and this would be this would be a problem. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bimal Gupta, Prabhuji, if you want to unmute yourself.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam, Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I have questions. Now we stay in East Coast, as now Manika Mati said, right? I also fall in the same place, like nearby Edison, New Jersey. So, Prabhuji, the main thing is now in East Coast, right? 6 months is the winter, right? And now you told that take it outside. We don't have the luxury to or liberty to take it outside because it's already cold there as well outside, right?
No, how cold does it get? Does it remain
Below 50s, below 50s. It definitely would be
below
50s.
50 is fine. Below even 45 is fine as long as it's not windy. Of course, certain months are going to be extremely cold. I don't know. I at least I'm in Texas, so we may get some sustained cold period for a week, and then the sun comes up, and then we may get another sustained period of cold. So for me, for us in Houston, is probably much more manageable than folks like in New Jersey, New York, where you may have a sustained low temperature for like 3-4 weeks at a row, right? Where temperatures are below 45 degrees or 40 degrees or 30 in the 30s, right? So that's possible. So that's when you got to have a really good lighting system. You have to invest in a lighting system,
Yeah.
and you have to have a dedicated place for Tulsi in your house. So if you want to keep it manageable, maybe don't have more than 4 Tulsis in your house. If you have a lot of Tulsis, it becomes a significant challenge.
Right.
Okay.
So, Prabhu, one question is here. Now, so you're saying 45 and below, we should not be exposing Tulsi outside, right? 45 above, we can take Tulsi Maharani
Yeah,
outside.
but 45, if you have a strong wind blowing, even 45 is too
Okay, got it.
low
Got it.
for.
Yeah. So, how much time, Prabhu, in case we go take it outside, how much time we need to expose to Tulsi Maharani outside, right? 1 hour
If
or
it is if it is 45 outside, it's okay. If it's 45 above 45 whole day, you can keep her. You only
Okay.
bring her when temperature drops below 40. So you have to look at your temperature fluctuations during the day.
Okay,
You
got
may
it.
have a cold front coming in, not knowing, hey, you put Tulsi outside, it's 50 degrees, and you didn't know a cold front is coming in and temperature dropped 20 degrees, and now the temperature is 30 degrees, she'll be finished.
Got it, Prabhu. And one quick question I have is next is the soil, Prabhu. Like, I'm using Michael Grow, that organic moisture control potting mix
Yes.
compost, right? So
That's okay.
that kind of soil we use means we don't have to add plant food and all those things, right, Prabhu?
No, you still need to. After some time, they deplete. Okay.
Okay.
So
But
they deplete after some time. This is not an eternal, lifetime guarantee. After some time, they lose their nutrients. So you have to start adding nutrients to those too.
so the plant food, when you say, Prabhu, when I was using this Michael Grow on plant food, right, it was mentioned, that bone mix and all those was mentioned. I got scared of using those kind of, plant food.
No,
Now,
the plant food I'm talking about is Osmocote, the one which I shared.
correct, correct.
Those are the plant food. Okay, don't go and get Miracle Grow plant food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hare
Now,
Krishna.
certain organic soils are really bad also for Tulsi. We tried it,
Question.
this organic doesn't work. Yeah.
Right. And one last question I have, Prabhu.
Which is the best soil?
So one last question I have, Prabhu. In case we don't have Tulsi Maharani to offer to Lord Krishna, right? Can we touch the beads of what we chant, and that can be said as we basically say that Tulsi Maharani is offered for the food, Prabhu?
So Prabhu, you're
Prabhuji,
muted.
you got muted. Yeah.
Hello, you're able to understand my question?
No. I think Prabhuji, you got muted actually.
Oh, okay.
Rasikendra, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
we can hear you now.
So I would say in anticipation like this, save your Tulsi, green Tulsis before winter comes. Pluck your Tulsis and dry them.
Correct. But in
And
any situation now we don't have Tulsi, right? We went to a place where we can cook the food, but we don't have Tulsi Maharani with us, right? So at
yeah,
that
then
point
you
of
mentally put Tulsi on that. Tell Krishna knows that.
okay.
You know.
What about touching the beads which we chant, right? Those also we can touch with our
I've never heard of that
okay.
practice.
No. Somebody, the senior devotee, they said that, so that's I was just trying to conquer that. So, but when you
Yeah.
said that we cannot miss, okay, I'll be careful.
Mentally offer Tulsi leaf. Krishna says patram, right? Mentally place Tulsi's. Tell Krishna, it's unfortunate I don't have Tulsi leaves, but please, I'm offering Tulsi leaves mentally on this offering. Please accept it.
Got it, bro. Thank you so much.
Vedant, Prabhuji, if you want to unmute yourself, I know we only have 2-3 minutes left. And I think rest of devotees, if you want to send me your questions, then I will get answers from Prabhuji and So don't put on the WhatsApp. You can put, I am on my WhatsApp, so that way it stays with me.
So, Ishwara Krishna Prabhu, if some devotees want to reach out to me, you can share my number with them.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Mataji, can we go by number? Like, we have a lot of raised hands, so let me go.
I'm not there.
Yeah. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, if you want to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Beautiful class. Thank you. I stay in San Antonio. The winds are very bad here. So I've been trying to, even though it is around 58, 60, I bring it inside because the winds actually are very bad for the Tulsi. That's what I've heard. But lately I'm seeing it was pure green, my plants, but now they're actually becoming yellowish. If I can just show you for a minute. Can you see me, Prabhu?
You're sharing your screen. Can somebody who's going to share the screen now?
I'm just going to show in the photo, Prabhu. Can you see?
No, I can't. Somebody has to share the
Yes,
screen.
we can see. We can see.
Oh, where are you? Hold on.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, and you
Prabhu,
are.
you need to stop share.
No.
And then-
Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, please spotlight her.
Yeah,
let me
put a pin her for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can see it. Prabhu, can you see it now?
Wait, I can't see.
No, I put the spotlight on her also. Okay, let me remove.
Because his screen is still up.
Yeah, let me stop sharing my screen and share what she's got. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, okay. Well, let me. I don't see.
Sindhu Mataji, Sindhu, Sindhu, if you can see.
Wait, hold on. SIN.
DHU. She has got her video on, Prabhu.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Can you see now, Prabhuji? I put the spotlight on her.
Okay. I do probably have to stop sharing, huh? How do I stop sharing? I can't see.
There is a red button on top, right, Prabhu? But the stop sharing. And then if you click that, it will stop sharing and always.
Maybe
You'll
you
be able
can
to see everything.
stop sharing. Ishwara Krishna, take away my sharing privileges. Oh, okay. Here it is. Stop share. Okay. All right. Okay, Mataji. Yeah. Where is the Sindhu Mataji here?
Can you see, Prabhu?
Yes. Yeah.
I have a lot of manjaris. I have to cut them. I keep cutting. I keep nipping them, but still I get too many. But right now, my problem is that, they are falling off and they are becoming brown.
Are they indoors now?
In the night, I bring them indoors. In the morning, at around 8 o'clock, I take them out till evening 5 p.m. And then around 5. The reason I bring them in is I try to protect them outside. There's too much of wind here.
But the
That's why.
wind is all right. If it's 60 degrees, windy is fine. Even 55 degrees, maybe it's 50 and windy is a problem.
Okay.
So, and you water them,
Mhm.
even if it's windy, you water them, the water will also get evaporated from the wind.
Okay.
So
Okay.
is your dirt dry? They don't look too bad. Did you put like did you apply ironite?
I haven't, Prabhu. Today I saw in
See,
your thing,
yeah,
I'll try that.
you got a little too many manjaris. You have to trim. That could also be the challenge. When you have too many manjaris, they will sap energy, and then she will try the yellows. The leaves will start turning yellow.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. So wind
Okay.
shouldn't be so much of a problem as long as it is around 60 degrees, right?
Even 55 is fine. Yeah. So, but if it's 50 degrees and very strong wind, you bring inside. But if it's 45 degrees and it's very still, it's fine. Even if it's sometimes 41, 42 and it's very still outside, awesome. I have never had issue. But if it's 45 degrees and there's, like a 7, 8 miles per hour wind outside, or 10, 15 miles per hour, you want to bring inside.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Prabhu. I'll try the
And
ironite.
you'll find that the green Tulsi is a little hardier. Ram Tulsi is hardier than the Sham Tulsi. Okay?
Correct. I actually have both, Prabhu. I've noticed that this
Yeah.
Ram Tulsi is very sensitive. Thank you, Prabhu. And if you could just share your ID or something when I have questions, I'll definitely reach out to you, Prabhu, if that is okay.
Sure.
Thank you
That's
so much,
Ishvara
Prabhu.
Krishna to share number with you. It's hard to explain all these things through a text message and some emails and stuff like that. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Very
I know,
nice.
Yeah,
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
I know, Prabhuji, it's 8:30. I'm not sure. Do you have time or should we wrap it up?
I think we can bring it to a close, and anybody has got further questions, you can share the number. I'm fine taking calls, I can share my experience. I'm here to share what I know a little bit, so.
Yes.
But the thing is, like I said, you have to treat devotee like a very exalted Vaishnava living in your home. That is a lot of the thing. If you can't just, okay, I know you'll try your best, but certain things only come from experience. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So I think let's wrap up this class. Let's,
Okay.
Mata, if you can mute yourself.
Hare Krishna, I have question.
Yeah, Mata, actually we are wrapping up. If you can send me your
Last
question,
question.
I will
Yeah,
ask.
last
Yeah.
question.
One last question. Yeah.
Yeah, my Tulsi leaves get little sometime yellow and black spots on that, or the right kind of a white cotton spots come on it. Now
Those
in
are,
this winter.
yeah, those are mealy bugs. Those white cotton things are bugs. You have to spray them out with water, or you can take like a cotton swab and remove them physically and then wash them. If you don't have a powerful garden hose, you have to remove them. If you spray some toxic things, it will affect Tulsi at the same time. And those are called mealy bugs, which I shared with you earlier. Were you
Uh,
here early in the call?
no, no, I didn't hear
Yeah,
that.
you missed it. You missed it, I
Yeah,
guess.
and what about those black spots? How to remove them?
Those black spots on Tulsi, are they like spots or are they bugs?
They are bugs. So how to avoid them, and why do they come?
They come because your Tulsi is weak. When Tulsi is weak, you get all kind of diseases. Just like
So
when
how to
your
make
immunity is weak. So you got to keep her healthy. We spoke
how?
about all the things earlier. I think you missed something.
Yeah, I miss. So how to keep healthy? Bring a new soil and put the
No,
Mataji,
food,
I'm going to
soil
share the
food.
YouTube link, so you will see if you watch a Prabhu's recording, you will see most of the.
Yeah, she's going to share my link, the recorder, so you can view the whole recorded lecture, so you will know exactly
Okay.
what to do.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So,
Hare Krishna.
yeah, let's give a gratitude Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If you all
Hare
can
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class, and thank you, dear devotees.
Thank you,
And
Prabhuji.
Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
And devotees, please feel free to IM me on the WhatsApp, and I'll try to get answer from Prabhuji. I know we cannot take all the questions right now, but I will try to get answers. And I will also post a video of today recording, so that way you can watch it. And then if you still have further question, and then you can ask me, like, post me, and I will get the answers for you. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.